Here's an interview from one of our past shows on Rock and Metal Revival. If you're interested in hearing full shows, go to our Facebook page and check out our list of affiliates for times and places where you can hear Rock and Metal Revival. There's Flash from the Lonely Ones on Rock and Metal Revival, and Jerry, still every time I hear that song,
every chance we get, we got to play that.
Yeah.
This is a special time to play it. So.
I think, wow, a band had the balls to try to touch that one.
Yeah, that's a tough one to even try to go after, and they did such a superb job.
And with us today, we want to welcome back to Rock and Metal Revival, Marty McCoy. How you doing, Marty?
I am awesome. How are you guys?
We're doing great. It's great to see that you guys are coming back up into our area, and I want to talk to you real quick about that Flash cover. I mean, it's blown us away, and when I hear it, I think of that movie Ted, where how much they love that in the movie. I got to ask you, Marty, where does the idea to cover such a vocally challenging song come from? I mean, how did you guys decide to do that one?
Well, it was during the pandemic, and every band was coming out with covers. And we thought, if we're going to do a cover, let's try to silence everybody and show them. We were a new band at the time, and it was like, let's try to show everybody that we're not playing games out here, and we're not going to do a metal Britney Spears cover like everybody else. So let's do something wild that no one has the balls to cover. And it definitely tested our manhood. It was kind of scary, but as we got into the thick of it, I was like, I think we could pull this off. And we just wanted to do something where it's like, everybody's doing a cover, let's do something that separates the boys from the men.
Well, and I'll tell you, I seen you guys, I think it was at Broadfest that I heard you guys do it live, and that really floored me. I mean, you guys are really hitting on all cylinders with the Lonely Ones.
Thank you. Yeah, recovering it in the studio, easier than pulling it off live. It was definitely, it was a two-parter. It's like, okay, we pulled this off in the studio. Now let's go into the rehearsal room and beat our brains to death to try to make this sound good. And I think we pulled it off.
Yeah. Nice. I didn't get to see it live, but, man, I love the version you guys recorded. Now, I like how you guys added the spoken word parts from the movie and stuff like that, and incorporated.
We did that ourselves. Yeah, we did that ourselves.
Incorporated the hero song in there. And man, how long did it take to put that whole thing together?
It was quite the undertaking because it's a movie soundtrack. The tempo is all over the place.
Oh yeah, and they might have music underneath that.
Yeah, so we had to redo the vocal parts ourselves. So that's me being the newscaster. My good friend Ronnie Hunter from 99.7 The Blitz is doing the female voices, which, she's a radio. She's been in radio for 25 years, so she came in and knocked it out in one take.
Nice.
So yeah, we did that all ourselves so that we didn't get sued by anybody, and that was the only way to do it. You can't sample it from the movie because it'll have the music in the background. So we were like, okay, these are the cool parts. Let's just kind of make our own thing out of it. Cool. It sounds extremely close to the original, but it is. If you set them side by side, it is totally different.
It really is, yeah.
Superb job, dude.
Yeah. Hey, now, Marty, the Lonely Ones are going to be playing a couple big festivals up here in Wisconsin coming up Memorial Day weekend. You guys are going to be kicking it at Bratfest, where I think that is just such a great music festival. And you guys
are
going to be at Rockfest, too, up in Cadott. Those are some pretty big festivals, really getting the word of the music of the Lonely Ones out to those people.
I got another one I can't announce yet, but as soon as we announce, I'll call you guys back. But yeah, to be a part of those big festivals is amazing. Play in front of 10, 15,000 people, there's nothing like it. I love the club shows; they're amazing. But when you get on stage and there's 10,000 people and they're staring at you, waiting for you to bring your flavor to the stage, it's like it definitely feels like it's a war getting ready to happen. And once the first axe gets swung, you start to get comfortable and feel like you know how to fight, and it's a pretty amazing experience. But it is definitely an experience. It's not something that I take very lightly. I freak out, hours before and almost throw up every time before I go on stage. And then when it's all said and done and over, it's the greatest feeling in the world.
Nice. Now, I like how you guys, when you put out singles, a lot of the time you make a video, too. Does it get hard to come up with concepts for the videos after a while, or is it always something's inspired already? Yeah,
writing the lyrics for the songs, I usually have the idea of what the song's about, and everything plays out in my head way far in advance. It's just sometimes it's hard to, budgetary restraints. Sometimes it's hard to pull off the big, huge imagination going on when you're writing the lyrics. But sometimes you can, and to me, that's one of the most fun things ever, too. As much fun as recording and playing live and writing is, you get to another creative outlet is making the videos.
Yeah.
And when you see something that you saw in your head pop up on the screen, and it's as close or even better than what you thought, it's a magical feeling.
Nice, yeah, it is. You know, Marty, you guys have been putting out single after single. Great stuff you've been sending out to us, the fans out here. Is there any thought, are you guys going to keep doing the single thing? Or are you guys going to put out an EP or a full length at any time?
So we are getting ready to go into the studio next week. We have enough material for 2 albums. I just don't know if people give a crap about albums anymore. I mean, if you're Drake, yeah, different. But when you're a newer band, and I call us a newer band because the music industry works in decades, I don't know if it makes sense for us to put out a record because people will just cherry pick the singles and never hear the greatest song that's number 10 on the album.
Yeah.
And, with social media and things like that, it's like if you put out singles, it keeps you in people's minds, oh, there's something new, there's something new, there's something new. If you put out a record, like, oh, a record came out and they may never hear about it or think about it again. But if you put and that's just, no disrespect to any musicians or anything like that. That's just the way society is wired at this point in time. You get on TikTok and you have one option, which is to flick up. And you're going to see a cat, staple someone stapled their nutsack to their leg and a cat, that can say hello. And then an album release, it's like, well, what are you going to remember? Probably the stapling and the cat speaking English. So it's such a fast-paced world, and it's just how it is. So you got to stay in people's faces. Like I said, if you were Drake or Kanye or something like that, and you released a record, it's a different thing. It's everywhere. But a younger band starting out, we kind of just got to keep beating people over the head. Here's new music. Here's new music. Here's new music. At some point in time, we will have enough to put records on the table, and people still buy CDs. It's a niche market, but they still buy them, and we still make money from them, and they still put them in their cars that still have CD players. So we'll still do that. But for right now, it'll be like single. Once there's enough to put a record, okay, here's the whole record, and then back to singles game. It's what I think. But, a couple guys in the band, we argue back and forth on that strategy.
Okay. So I went to your website, cool website, I was going through watching all your videos, and the one that stuck out was Gucci bags and the two people covered in glitter. I want to know, how fun was it for them to try to clean up after that? Because anybody who's been to a strip club knows that glitter is just going to get on you, and it's going to stay on you.
Well, the guys with girlfriends had to explain the video concept first, so you don't come home with glitter all over you. Where have you been? Video shoot, I swear, you'll see.
Yeah.
Like that was a video where we decided, for time restraints and things like that, because we were hitting the road pretty hard. It's like we decided to do something where the band wasn't in it, which fans don't really like that very much. Fans want to see the band. But I just thought it was a cool artsy thing to do.
Yeah.
I love that video. But it was one of those things like we don't really have time to come home, shoot a video, get back out on the road. So let's do this artsy kind of dance thing. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, but the Lonely Ones has kind of moved more toward that groove and that kind of dance vibe.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Yeah.
shake your hips, rock and roll kind of stuff. So it just kind of is playing into more of the vibe and the direction that we're headed in. So I thought it was amazing. Some fans thought it was cool. Other fans were like, "How come you're not in the video?" Well, I was in Wisconsin.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Marty. I caught the show up at the Wisconsin Dells a couple of weeks ago, and honest to God, dude, you guys blew me away. And I've been a Bobaflex fan since you played Redneck Fest.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Do you think the fans are having a hard time distinguishing between the music of Bobaflex and what you're trying to do with the Lonely Ones?
100%.
Okay.
Absolutely. I get emails every day and messages every day. What's going on? And unfortunately, Bobaflex had to pump the brakes, and things happened, with family and different things. So the Lonely Ones is the number one priority, and we got to jam it down people's throats because we still have people come to the show. I thought you were going to play nothing but Bobaflex songs. I was like, please, for the love of God, pay attention.
Exactly.
Two separate bands. They have nothing to do with each other except for the couple long-haired guys in both of them. But I understand that. I've done that with bands. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. But yeah, for sure, 100%. But it's starting to catch on, and the Lonely Ones are starting to build a different fan base. I'm starting to see faces that I've never met before, and people that have no idea that I'm in another band.
That's cool.
Now, I got to go back to the Flash song just for a second, because being a guitar player, man, I love those guitar tones that you guys got in that song. Did you guys use amps and mics, or did you use modeling software and all that technological stuff?
We went to Sweetwater, which is in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is like the biggest musical gear company in the country. Okay. And they have their own studio there, and you can get anything that you want in the warehouse. Like, we're in the studio. Like, I want to try this guitar. They go out to the warehouse and grab it.
Wow.
So we got to use anything that we wanted. So for my guitar tone to play, the Brian May solo, I used a Fender that had the pickups out of phase just like his, through an AC-30 mic up close and big room mics. I like the modeling stuff in the studio, like the modeling amps, but I always use both.
Yeah.
So I use 2 amps and then the direct line out of the modeling amp. So okay. I like to push air is what it's called, pushing air through the microphone from the speaker into the microphone. I like to do that. I feel like the digital stuff is amazing, but I just feel like there's this percentage of realness that I like to cover both areas.
Nice.
Awesome.
Cool.
Now, Marty, I got one more question for you from the show at the Dells. Final song, Bury Me With My Guns On, and you got a kid up there killing it.
That kid's famous.
Yeah. Where did you get the kid?
So he goes to a lot of shows, and he's sang with a lot, like he sang with Slipknot, and Jimmy right during the middle, right before we went on this, I have in-ear monitors in, so it's hard for me to hear, and Jimmy comes running up to me and goes, the kid, you know that kid? I go, oh yeah. He goes, get him up on stage. I said, what? He goes, just trust me on this. I go, okay. So he brings the kid up, and then come to find out, we've known him we were his first concert, and then he wants to be a singer, and he does a great job, man. The kid's got stage presence. I have a recording of it. He's nailing the notes to the wall. And then his dad sends me a bunch of stuff like, do you remember this? I was like, oh yeah, I remember. He's like, you were his first concert, and you inspired him to do this. And then there's all these videos where he's on stage with all kinds of other, like, way more famous musicians. So the kid's got a future, and he's got it, man. He's got it all. He's got the stage presence. He can nail the notes. He's totally comfortable up there, and he's already got a following. So
it was awesome.
Nice. So one final question here now. On the song Gucci Bags, right at the beginning you hear, it's drums and bass, and right off the bat, that groove, I'm like, man, this song, it needs some cowbell. And no sooner than I think that, than I hear you say, let me have some cowbell. Yeah, and I hear it click, tick, and it's like, man, all right, whose idea was it to put the cowbell in there? Because that was brilliant. Because it was
the universe's idea. Just the same way that you said. There was no one even said anything. Everyone just looked at everyone, shook their head. Yep, here comes the cowbell. Has to be in there.
Yeah, and then just 4 clicks and a rest, and it just
got to get them grooving.
It grooves, man. It was good, classic.
Now, Marty, you're taking the Lonely Ones out on the road. When are you guys hitting it? Because I know you're here in May at the end of this month, I should say, Memorial Day weekend. What else is up with the Lonely Ones?
We go on our longest tour yet. So, like I said, we're a pandemic band where we got together right when the pandemic started. Well, we got together, wrote a bunch of songs, then the pandemic hit, and kind of trying to figure out that bottleneck of everybody doing the same thing. When the pandemic was over and it was able to tour, every band in the world was trying to play, Columbus, Ohio on a Thursday. So we did what we could, and now we did what we could to get out there. Now it's kind of opened back up and things are getting back to normal. So we're going on our longest tour to date, starting next month. And we start in the Northeast, the Northeast, and all the way out down into the South and Midwest, and I can't wait.
I bet you can.
Can't wait. Diesel prices are coming back down, so we might be able to make a little walking around money.
Nice. Well, I tell you what, I've already put it on my calendar. I will be in Madison on that Sunday at Broadfest. I can't wait to see you guys again. Last year you kicked ass, and I can't wait to catch it again. And Marty, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and travel safe. And like I said, we look forward to seeing you when you get back to Wisconsin.
Thank you so much. Wisconsin is good to us, and it's the best place for rock and roll in the United States.